What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to be explaining how to build parlays that are not absolute trash. So it's definitely common advice from experts that parlays are horrible. It's impossible to make money. And that's, to be clear, that is not true. Last year, I made over $160,000 betting on parlays. And you may be like, why are you betting on parlays? Well, a few different reasons. One, they're fun. And two, a lot of new sports books, which are called fantasy books, like Prize Picks and Better, they're parlay-only sports books. You cannot place straight bets. So for example, on Prize Picks, if you just have one pick, they tell you, hey, you need at least 2 plays in your entry. You need at least 2 picks. It's a parlay-only sports book, long story short. So you can definitely make money betting on parlays, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this tutorial video. But I actually thought ChatGPT had pretty good advice. If you ask ChatGPT, can you make money betting on parlays? We all know AI is pretty smart. ChatGPT gives insanely good advice. They basically say for most people, 97% of sports bettors lose money long term. For most people, parlays are a bankroll killer, right? You're just compounding the vig. Most people are placing emotional fun bets, so they lose a ton of money on parlays. However, as ChatGPT says, you can absolutely make money betting on parlays if there's promos, correlation, or most importantly, if each bet in your parlay is positive EV. So parlays are pretty simple at the end of the day. They're just combinations of bets, right? So if you're a profitable sports bettor, and let's say on average, you have a 3% ROI on your straight bets, right? So you're a mathematically profitable plus EV bettor. For a 2-leg parlay, your ROI is going to be 6%. For 3-leg parlays, your ROI is going to be 9%, right? 3% per leg, you have 3 legs, 9%. So actually, if you're a sharp, profitable bettor, right, and every bet that you're including in your parlay is mathematically profitable, your ROI on parlays is going to be higher. The edge compounds. However, you have to remember most sports bettors aren't sharp. Most sports bettors are losing money on their straight bets. So most sports bettors, let's say the average ROI of a sports bettor, it's approximately, if you research it, about -4, -5%. So let's just say it's -4%. If you're losing, the average sports bettor is losing 4% on their straight bets. For a 2-leg parlay, the house edge, the negative EV nature of their straight bets is going to compound. For a 2-leg parlay, they're going to lose 8%. 3-leg parlay, add another -4%, -12%. Long story short, profitable parlay betting, aside from promos, which we'll get to, and correlation, in general, profitable parlay betting is pretty simple. You just want to make sure every bet in your parlay is mathematically profitable or plus EV. So first things first, I wanted to show you how I build profitable plus EV parlays. So I'm currently on the OddsJam positive EV tool. All this tool does is scan the millions of odds and lines across books to point out value, to point out bets with an edge. So I'll give you a simple example. It's like 11 p.m. at night currently, so all of these games are for tomorrow. But this play on Jose Altuve, you can see all sportsbooks set their own lines. This looks like a really sharp bet, right? We're getting Altuve over 1.5 hits at plus 230. No other sportsbook is even offering above plus 195. This definitely seems like good value. So I have 2 options. And OddsJam has 1-click bet. You literally just click and it takes you right to the sportsbook, which is pretty nice. You can see on FanDuel, I've made too much money on them. They have me limited to $76 only, which is a little outrageous, but whatever, that's beside the point. I could run this as a straight bet. The bet is profitable, it has an edge. What is the edge? Well, according to OddsJam, OddsJam considers every sportsbook's odds. Certain books are weighted higher than others depending on how sharp they are. Everything is back tested. But regardless, this bet has a profit margin of about 4%. So I could just run it as a straight bet. For every $100 I bet, I'm making $4 in projected profit. I could just run it as a straight bet, but maybe I say, I want to parlay this, because why not? Well, what I can do is find another sharp bet. This bet has a 3.72% edge. So if you add these numbers together, if I make a 2-pick parlay, the ROI of the parlay is going to be approximately 7.82%. You just add 4.1% plus 3.72%. So this play seems really good. Brewers minus 1.5 at plus 200. You can see sharp books like Bet Online and Circa have this around plus 180, plus 174, and this is actually a locked market, right? So I can get the Pirates plus 1.5 at minus 200, betting 200 to win 100, or on FanDuel, I can bet the Brewers at plus 200, minus 1.5 on the run line, $100 to win 200. So there's no juice between sportsbooks, right? Like you could bet $200 on Bet Online, $100 in FanDuel, and have no loss of money. This is a pick-em market. A locked market is another term for it. So pretty simple. I just hit this button again. And now you can see I have a parlay. It's making me re-log in, which is a little bit annoying, but whatever. That's fine, FanDuel. I can log in. And again, all a parlay is gonna do is increase variance, right? Instead of running straight bets, now I'm parlaying two things together. So I need 2 bets to win as opposed to just 1 bet. So parlays lead to more ups and downs, right? You're gonna have greater swings in your actual realized profit. So FanDuel's limiting me to $75 approximately on this. So I can lock it in, and now I have a plus EV parlay locked in with an ROI long-term. I should make approximately, 7.82% on this parlay. So that's basically how I create profitable parlay bets, but there's a lot more we're gonna get into in this video. So parlay betting strategy is pretty simple, right? Make sure every bet in your parlay is plus EV or profitable, and your parlay is gonna be plus EV or profitable. Really, it's that simple. It's not that complicated. If you have an edge on your straight bets, a positive ROI, you're gonna have an edge long-term betting on parlays, more variance, and your ROI on your parlays is actually gonna be higher than your ROI on your straight bets. But one question I get a lot is why bet on parlays in the first place? If they increase variance, why don't you just bet on straight bets? Number one is obviously parlays are fun. If you know you have an edge and are winning long term, obviously parlays are fun. You're betting a little money to make a lot of money. Parlays are more exciting, so I'm not morally opposed, or it's not necessarily a bad thing to bet on parlays, but there's other reasons to bet on them. Number two is as a sharp, profitable sports bettor, it's a good way to disguise your edge, right? Sportsbooks in general love parlay bettors because again, most people are losing sports bettors, so they lose even more on parlays. So if you're a sharp plus EV bettor who does not want to get limited, you don't want books to cut you down, disguising sharp profitable bets in parlays is oftentimes a good way to prolong your accounts. It improves account health and stuff like that. You won't get limited as quick if you're positive EV betting with just parlays. Another reason you want to bet on parlays is a lot of books run promos on parlays, right? So like FanDuel, nearly every single day of the week runs a profit boost that you can only use on parlays. And why does FanDuel do this? Why don't they let you bet on straight bets with your profit boost? So many of their promos, and it's not just FanDuel, it's DraftKings, basically every book. Why do they give you parlay profit boosts? And the reason is, again, sportsbooks know most bettors get killed betting on parlays long term. So they try to incentivize people. They run promos, 25%, 30% profit boost on parlays to try to get people, consistently betting on parlays, since they know for most people, 97% of sports bettors, they're gonna make even more money. However, as a sharp sports bettor, these promos, a 30% profit boost, if every bet in your parlay is plus EV, your ROI on these promo parlay profit boosts is going to be insanely high. So long story short, there's a lot of promos on FanDuel, DraftKings, all these books where you can only bet parlays. And that's a big reason why I bet on parlays as well. So the final reason I bet on parlays all the time is I use 5 parlay-only sports books. They're called DFS books. And the main ones I use are Prize Picks, Underdog, Better, Dabble, and DraftKings Pick 6. These books are super exploitable, and you can only bet on parlays on them. So for example, on Underdog Fantasy, I made $40K in 2023. On Better, I made $60,000, over $60,000 in 2024. So to bet on these sports books, you have to bet on parlays. So the first reason, just as ChatGPT said, is correlation. Correlation makes these books extremely exploitable. And the reason is because they have fixed payouts. So if you look at Prize Picks, this is a very simple example, but on Prize Picks, any 2-man or 2-pick entry has a 3x payout. So just as a simple example, if I play Paige Buckers over or under 18 points, as you can see in this little video on the side, it doesn't matter. I'm getting the same payout regardless. These sports books have fixed payouts. So that makes correlation extremely exploitable. So I'll give you a simple example. Is here you can see a Prize Picks play I locked in. I included 2 college football picks, Parker, the Ohio quarterback, under in passing yards, and then Coleman Owen, who's his main receiver, under in receiving yards. Coleman Owen is like 40%, right, of Parker's passing yards line. He's the main target. So if Parker goes under in passing yards, Coleman Owen is much more likely to go under in receiving yards. These 2 plays are positively correlated. Taking a quarterback and a wide receiver, the main wide receiver, the main target to both go under on Prize Picks is a great example of correlation. Because if I take Parker's under and Coleman's over or under, it doesn't matter on Prize Picks. Any 4-pick entry, you get a 10x payout. So basically, by stacking quarterbacks and the main wide receiver to both go under, you're getting the added benefit of correlation, which is exactly what ChatGPT said. That is a great way to enhance the ROI of your parlays and make money. But what I wanted to explain very briefly is, and I'll give you an example on Dabble. Dabble is a DFS book that I use. I've made some pretty good money on it. Is on Dabble, just like Prize Picks, you take a player to go over or under, you get the same payout. So how do you make money? Is I found this play, Rowdy to record a hit on the Odds Jam Positive EV tool. I took his over in my 3-pick entry, which you can see right here. So basically, on Dabble, I take Rowdy to go over or under, I get the same payout. I'm gonna get a 6x payout regardless. So why did I take his over? If you look at every sportsbook, FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, every book has Rowdy's over him to get a hit heavily favored, right? So sportsbook odds are market data. That's a source of information as a sports bettor. So if you look on Caesars Sportsbook, you can see they have Rowdy's over as a -140 favorite. The under is a +110 underdog. So he's much more likely to go over as opposed to under, according to market data. These multi-billion-dollar sports books with teams of data scientists setting lines. Every single book, we have multiple data points. All these books have his over heavily favored. So the over is the much more likely outcome, which is why we want to include this pick in our Dabble slip, right? Because Dabble is a fixed payout sports book. Now you may be a little confused, like why is Dabble -122? How does that make sense? So you can see on Odds Jam, this play was from the Positive EV tool. His over and under are both -122 odds. So why is that the case? Is again, the price is the same, -122 on the over and the under, because again, you take his over, under, same payout. So the odds are going to be the same. Dabble is a parlay-only sports book, but what you can do is basically back out. On Dabble, any 3-pick parlay has a 6x payout. So if you just use a parlay calculator, you'll see Dabble is basically giving you -122 juice on any pick on the board. So any 3-leg parlay you build on FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever, if all 3 legs are minus 122 odds, you're gonna be getting plus 500 odds, a 6x payout, 100 to win 600, 500 in profit, plus 500 odds. So basically what Dabble is doing as a parlay-only sportsbook, giving you a 6x payout on any 3-pick entry, is they're charging you minus 122 juice for any pick on the board. So all you will need to do is find 3 bets on Dabble that are positive EV at minus 122 odds, and then your parlay is going to be positive EV. And that's exactly how I make money on Dabble. So long story short, parlays for square bettors are horrible because the juice is going to compound. If you lose 5%, negative 5% ROI like most sports bettors on your straight bets, for 2-leg parlays, it's going to be negative 10%. However, for sharp, profitable bettors, the strategy for making money on parlays is pretty simple. And the reason you want to bet on parlays is 1, hide the fact that you're a sharp bettor. It's good for your account health. If you're a positive EV profitable bettor, it's going to take the sportsbooks longer to notice if you're betting on parlays. That's one reason. And 2, there's a bunch of promos, FanDuel Profit Boost, stuff like that are only for parlays, right? These sportsbooks want to incentivize people, because most bettors lose a lot of money, to bet on parlays because their edge compounds. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make parlays that aren't trash. If you have any questions, comment them below. And again, thanks so much for your time.